AEW President and CEO Tony Khan explains how airing the CM Punk and Jack Perry AEW All-In footage last week on AEW Dynamite made sense to him. Drew Gulak has seemingly been written off NXT television amid the allegations made against him by Ronda Rousey. We have the ratings for Saturday's AEW Collision as well as AEW Battle of the Belts on TNT. Trick Williams defeats Carmelo Hayes in a steel cage match last night on NXT. An update on the WWE statuses of Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan amid Uncle Howdy teases. Details on if there have been any talks between Rossy Agawa's new Marigold promotion and WWE. An update seemingly confirmed that Cody Rhodes has been traded from Raw to SmackDown amid his WWE Undisputed Championship victory at WrestleMania. Adam Copeland confirms he plans to retire in 18 months. A couple more matches are set to be announced for AEW Dynasty this weekend, and an NXT Women's Championship and NXT Underground have been confirmed for next week's Spring Breaking Special. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off with Tony Khan defending airing the CM Punk and Jack Perry AEW All-In backstage altercation footage last week on AEW Dynamite. Now, AEW CEO Tony Khan has explained how airing the CM Punk and Jack Perry footage made a lot of sense. Of course, on the April 10 edition of AEW Dynamite, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson of the Young Bucks presented backstage footage from AEW All-In that showed the altercation between CM Punk and Jack Perry. The Bucks used the footage as an excuse for why they lost to FTR for the AEW World Tag Team Championships at AEW All-In London at Wembley Stadium. Speaking on the Chris Russell show, Tony Khan was asked if he regretted the decision to air the All-In footage. He answered, quote, "I think it made a lot of sense. First of all, the Young Bucks FTR ladder match is coming up at AEW Dynasty for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Quote, this is the fourth chapter in the FTR Young Bucks. I believe they are the two greatest tag teams in wrestling, the two best on the planet. The last time they wrestled, Young Bucks FTR 3, was at Wembley Stadium, AEW All-In. A lot happened that day. Those guys, at one point, they were the third match on the pay-per-view, and at one point, it looked like we were going to have to call them up, and they were going to have to wrestle the first match. They ended up going in the spot they were in, but the Young Bucks said the whole day, everything that happened, it affected their mental preparation. They weren't able to pray before the match. They were very stressed out. They slipped on the banana peel, lost the match, and they blamed FTR and what happened at Wembley Stadium. In hindsight, that's why they refused to shake FTR's hands." On the change from the Young Bucks since their return in January of this year, Khan said, quote, "We've seen the Young Bucks change a lot. We saw them get really dark during the retirement run of Sting. They've only gotten darker and more twisted. That's why they felt like they should play the tape. It was fascinating to see after the tape played, the reaction Jack Perry got at New Japan. He got the reaction of a superstar. That is not altogether unexpected, and it's something very interesting. Perhaps a side effect of this, Jack Perry, already a big star in wrestling, really the way the crowd connected with him in Chicago, that was interesting. It leaves a lot of intrigue going into AEW Dynamite and AEW Dynasty. So do you agree or disagree with Tony Khan there? Do you think it made a lot of sense, or was it just a case of an attempt to embarrass CM Punk? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Now, Drew Gulak has seemingly been written off WWE television amid allegations recently made against him. Now, the revelation was made on screen during last night's April 16 episode of NXT. During an in-ring segment with the D'Angelo family, the group was cut off by the No Quarter Catch crew. The No Quarter Catch crew has had a missing number for the past couple of weeks, that being Drew Gulak, with now only 3 members in Charlie Dempsey, Damon Kemp, and Miles Bourne. During the segment, it was remarked by the No Quarter Catch crew that they had done a deal with the D'Angelo family to, quote, take care of someone for them. The implication is, of course, that person being referred to is Gulak, and given the D'Angelo family's history, essentially, there's every reason to believe the story is that they either killed Gulak or at least had him killed. It was remarked numerous times that this was for, quote, the good of the industry. Now, Gulak's disappearance and removal from television comes after comments made by Ronda Rousey during an interview with News Nation. On April 2nd, former WWE superstar Ronda Rousey appeared for an interview with News Nation regarding alleged sexual misconduct and the culture surrounding it in WWE. During the interview, Rousey said the following about Drew Gulak. She said, quote, "I was standing there and this guy who was barely an acquaintance with grabs the string of my sweatpants as I'm walking by. Like I wasn't even looking at him. This guy grabs the string of my sweatpants and nobody else reacts as if this is abnormal. He grabs it and he starts going down the hall and I'm just like, what the F was that? Like, why are you grabbing the string of my sweatpants? If my husband was standing here next to me, would you feel comfortable walking up to me and grabbing the string of my sweatpants?" But nobody around me acted as if it was abnormal. All the guys were just like, this is part of the day. And I'm like, if this guy is coming up to me and doing this kind of stuff to me when there's other people around, what's happening to these other girls when it's not in a hallway or something like that? So that really put me on edge to like, not only is this behavior prevalent, but it's so prevalent that people don't even realize it's a problem anymore. Drew Gulak, that's who it was. I went and confronted him later and I was like, if I ever hear about you putting your hands on any other woman like this or doing anything like this to me ever again, we're going to have a problem. And he was like, no, I'm glad you said something to me. He just really like backpedaled and everything like that. But it just put a really sour taste in my mouth about the culture there and what's considered acceptable and how to touch and treat women in the hallways and anywhere. Now, Gulak later responded by tweeting, quote, "Backstage at a WWE event in 2022, I saw Ronda talking with a group in the hallway. I stopped to say hi and shake all their hands, and in an attempt to shake her hand, I accidentally touched her drawstring. Complete accident, and one that I had apologized to her for the mishap." Now, Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer then reported that there were people in WWE who expected Gulak to, quote, "be gone from the company." As of right now, he is still listed on WWE's website roster page. If we get any more details on Gulak's status with the company, we'll let you know in a future video. Now let's talk about the ratings for AEW Collision this past Saturday. They had strong sports competition, but they actually fared pretty well. On Saturday, April 6th, Collision found itself in a unique position, airing several hours outside of its time slot following the coverage of the Final Four of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament and airing right after Night 1 of WrestleMania 40. Now, at the time, the move seemed to benefit, as the lead-in, a very strong one, from the basketball coverage helped Collision draw its strongest rating in several months. The question then became whether Collision could keep the momentum up going back to its normal time slot. The answer was yes. WrestleNomics is reporting that Saturday's Collision drew 467,000 total viewers and a 0.13 in the coveted 18 to 49 demographic. Total viewership rose slightly from last week, up 1% from 463,000, while the 18 to 49 was down, falling 15% from a 0.13. Even still, the numbers were a positive step forward, with Saturday's show drawing Collision's highest total viewership and 18 to 49 numbers in its regular time slots since February 10 and March 2nd, respectively. Now, in more good news when it comes to AEW programming on Saturday night, it actually comes from the Battle of the Bouts special. The 10th edition of AEW Battle of the Bouts was also a success, drawing 422,000 total viewers and a 0.11 in the 18 to 49. Both numbers were up significantly from the last Battle of the Bouts on January 13, which drew only 351,000 and a 0.09. The 422,000 total viewers represented the fifth highest number in Battle of the Bouts history, behind the first, second, third, and eighth editions of the show, respectively. Now, when it comes to the quarter-hour ratings, these come courtesy of WrestleNomics, so shout out to them. Be sure to subscribe to their Patreon channel. As you can see right there, the quarter hours for Collision showed a very steady show, with total viewership ranging above 460,000 for all but 2 quarter hours, while 18 to 49 above a 0.12 for all but 1. The show's high point was the opening match featuring the House of Black, which drew 509,000 total viewers and a 0.15 in the 18 to 49, with the show hitting 500,000 again for quarter hour 5 for Tony Storm vs AZM. The low point came in quarter hour 6 when several promo segments drew 417,000 and a 0.10 in the 18 to 49 rating. Now let's talk about NXT last night and a huge steel cage rematch coming out of NXT Stand and Deliver, because Trick Williams is now 2-0 against his former best friend Carmelo Hayes by defeating his rival last night in a steel cage on NXT. Williams battled Hayes inside the cage in the main event of Tuesday's show, and Hayes targeted Trick's arm and had his security get involved, but it was Trick who scored the win after a trick shot to Hayes through a chair. Now Williams is set to face face Ilya Dragunov for the NXT Championship next week at NXT Spring Breaking Night 1, just before the WWE Draft kicks off on next week's edition of SmackDown. Many believe it could be the time that Trick Williams wins the NXT Championship and Ilya Dragunov goes up to the main roster. Now let's talk a little bit about the statuses of some former Wyatt family members that could be involved in this Uncle Howdy storyline we're currently seeing teased on WWE television. With teases on WWE TV, most recent as Monday during Raw, the former Wyatt family, founded by the late Wyndham Rotunda, better known as Bray Wyatt, is once again at the forefront of fans' minds. Following the release of the WWE documentary Bray Wyatt Becoming Immortal on Peacock, it seems likely that Wyatt's brother, Taylor Rotunda, better known as Bo Dallas in WWE, will return to the company with the Uncle Howdy character he was portraying before his brother was taken off television with medical issues prior to his passing. Dave Meltzer speculated on the status of members of the Wyatt family on Wrestling Observer Radio after rumors began swirling regarding Eric Rowan's status with WWE after the star was pulled from indie dates due to contractual obligations and also spotted in Pittsburgh, where WWE talent undergoes medical testing. Meltzer said Rowan is, quote, probably heading back to the company, among others. Quote, Uncle Howdy's coming back for sure. They had a tease during the show. It was like a Bray Wyatt tease, Meltzer said. They're going to be doing Bray Wyatt teases, and he's going to do a character based probably on the idea or an idea from Bray Wyatt. Meltzer also commented on the statuses of Braun Strowman, who's been out of action for almost a year due to an injury that required cervical spinal fusion surgery. Strowman was recruited by Wyatt to join the stable in August 2015, alongside Rowan and the late Luke Harper, who is known as Brody Lee in AEW. Quote, Strowman's out with neck surgery and he's getting better, Meltzer said. He should be back somewhat soon, but I don't know what timetable is on that. With the recent teases that seem to be leading towards a return of Uncle Howdy, Meltzer believes a reunion in Wyatt's honor could be possible. As of this recording, no official dates for the debuts have been referenced in any teases as of right now. Now, of course, the wrestling world got a bit bigger this week as former Stardom boss Rossi Ogawa officially established his new promotion, Marigold. Following his firing from the company he founded in February, Ogawa has managed to pull together his inaugural roster that includes the likes of Julia, who of course is going to be going to WWE in the near future. Now, he's also made it very clear that he is open to collaboration, most specifically with WWE. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer gave his thoughts on how possible it may be for WWE and Marigold to become official working partners. Quote, they've been talking, Meltzer said. WWE contacted them last year, both Ogawa and Stardom. Obviously, with Rossi at WrestleMania and Stardom working with AEW, that tells you that WWE is going to end up working with them. It's not official, but if they're not working with Stardom and if WWE wanted to work with someone in Japan or a women's promotion in Japan, it's pretty obvious this is the one. Now, stars like Io Sky and Kairi Sane have reportedly been rumoured to be involved in some of Marigold's bigger shows, according to Meltzer, with the company hoping to run 4 tentpole shows each year, 1 major show per month at the legendary Korakuen Hall in Tokyo, while also travelling around to other cities in Japan. Rumours of Ogawa working with WWE were amplified over WrestleMania weekend, as Meltzer noted that Ogawa was spotted on camera sitting next to William Regal and Julia at NXT Stand and Deliver on April 6th. The idea was to reveal Julia to WWE fans, and she has reportedly agreed to join the company once she has fulfilled her commitments in Japan, with her expectation that she'll be in the Performance Center sometime in mid to late June or early July. Now, Cody Rhodes, we spoke yesterday if Cody Rhodes had possibly said farewell to Raw on Monday, and it looks like that could be the case. WWE has announced a major change to the current status of champion Cody Rhodes after confirming another detail. The WWE website confirmed 2 big revelations as it relates to champion Cody Rhodes. Rhodes' title is now listed as the undisputed WWE Championship, not the former iteration of the combined titles held by Roman Reigns. The title held by Roman Reigns was previously referred to as the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Also on the website, Rhodes was officially switched from being noted as being on the Blue brand to SmackDown. Obviously, he was previously on Raw. While Rhodes mentioned the detail during an in-ring segment on this week's Raw, it's now been made official. Whether or not the change will stick around for the long term or not remains to be seen, of course, with the draft coming up soon. But as of right now, Cody Rhodes is officially the undisputed WWE Champion, and he's also a member of the SmackDown roster. Now, Adam Copeland says he thinks he has around 18 months left of in-ring competition in his wrestling career. Of course, Copeland has been enjoying a career resurgence, with the second half of his career kicking off with his return after 9 months away from the ring at the Royal Rumble back in 2020. Before his initial retirement in 2011, Copeland had accomplished a great deal as a former multi-time WWE World Champion and WWE Hall of Famer. Copeland has since left WWE and signed with All Elite Wrestling in October of last year. 6 months later, he is the reigning TNT champion after defeating his real-life best friend Christian Cage. Speaking to Brandon Walker on Mostly Sports, Copeland was asked about the differences between the two runs of his legendary career. He said, quote, "I've lived a lot more life. As strange as that sounds, it actually does add to your utility belt out there. As a performer, any kind of performer, they have to dip into a place to pull the character off. It's the same with wrestling. That, more than anything, is what I noticed coming back. Some of the skill set I got in the acting I did those 9 years off. I did over 100 episodes of television when I was retired. You kind of pull those strings back with you. I feel that's the biggest difference. I might not be as fast as I used to be, but I feel mentally I'm better than I've ever been. This is why a guy like Tom Brady goes, yeah, well, mentally I'm better than I've ever been. I see the game better than I've ever seen it. I think that's the struggle." On feeling like he's winding down his in-ring career, Copeland said, quote, "That's kind of how I feel, but I'm also a realist. I don't want to be that guy who sticks around to the point where a young guy looks at the sheet and goes, okay, I have to wrestle him tonight. I don't want to be that guy. I want the young guys to still be excited if they're going to hop in there with me. I figure maybe I have a year and a half left, give or take. Hopefully I've gotten all the years out by that point." Of course, Copeland is set to team with Willow Nightingale to face the House of Black's Brody King and TBS champion Julia Hart in a mixed tag team match on the April 17 edition of AEW Dynamite. That's tonight on TBS. Then Copeland will team with Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Briscoe and the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion Eddie Kingston to face the House of Black's Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews and Brody King this Sunday at AEW Dynasty. Now, speaking of Dynasty, how many more matches are set to be added to the show? Well, according to a new report, at least a couple. The lineup for the event currently features 8 matches, including an AEW World Championship match between Samoa Joe and Swerve Strickland, as well as a first-time ever dream match between Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay. Most AEW pay-per-view events have typically featured around 10 main show matches in the past, and it seems as though this weekend's show may end up being no exception. Speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer noted there are still a couple of matches that are going to be added to the card for Dynasty. One would expect that the matches to be a combination of Chris Jericho, Hook, and Shane Taylor promotions, as Jericho and Hook's Lion Hook team have been part of a storyline on the show in recent weeks. On this week's Dynamite, Jon Moxley is set to return to the show as the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, potentially setting up a match for that event as well. And finally, a couple of matches have been announced for the Spring Break-In special coming up over the next few weeks for NXT. Another match has been announced for the NXT Spring Break-In special, and it will be an NXT Women's Championship match on the first night of the event. Champion Roxanne Perez will defend the title against Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley. The match was made official by General Manager Ava in a backstage segment. Perez was talking with Kelly Kincaid about Valkyria and Paxley as the latter turned on the former champion last week. Perez told Kincaid that she'll be interested to see the two fight it out, and she may give the winner a shot at the title. However, Ava told her that she'll be defending the belt in a triple threat match. And also, we're going to be seeing NXT Underground return. Yes, a former short-lived Raw concept that made its way to NXT is set to return in 2 weeks at the Developmental Brands Spring Break-In event. It was revealed on Tuesday that Lola Vice would take on Natalya in an NXT Underground match. The veteran appeared on the Tron following Vice's victory over Sol Ruka and made the announcement. Natalya began her run of NXT appearances when she defeated Vice after she answered an open challenge. The following week, she was in the corner of Carmen Petrovic as she took on Vice. Last week, Vice got involved in Natalya's match against NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez. Vice distracted the veteran star when the referee's back was turned, causing her to lose the match when Perez hit a Pop Rocks for the victory. The Underground concept was initially a brainchild of Shane McMahon on the main roster during the COVID-19 pandemic. The match type was meant to give this Fight Club kind of feel, being housed in what looked like a warehouse, but was often compared to blood sports. NXT Underground rules means there are no pinfalls, and the match is more MMA based, with no ropes around the ring. The last NXT Underground match that took place was back in December, when Dijak was defeated by Eddie Thorpe. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.